This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
Yes, good Saturday morning to all you happy pappy people, and welcome to another edition of 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Live each and every Saturday morning on Cove of Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. Interact with us as we are counting down the days to close out the greatest month of all, August. With the coach, Ed Young, I am Matt Hatfield. We've got a couple of Hall of Famers joining us this morning at 10 a.m. We'll talk with the veteran scribe of the Richmond Times-Dispatch, formerly of the Daily Press for many, many years. He's won like 8,000 Virginia Sports Writer of the Year awards, as he should, because he's the very best, David Teel, and then the very best breaking down Major League Baseball. He's also a Hall of Famer. The one and only Tim Kurkjian will join us. And Tim now also hosting a podcast himself. Is this a great game or what? Because that's a bad Kurkjian impersonation. He and his son Jeff do that people can check out. And you can find that online, by the way. We'll give it a little pop at greatgameorwhat.com. I'm not sure my cohort, the coach Ed Young, has been to that yet, but I'm sure it's on his bucket list of items. Good morning, sir. And I say good morning to you on this 24th day of August, the year 2024. I've known you for 20 plus years now. And every year around this time, you seem to get very depressed. I get excited because football's starting. We're starting to cool down temperature-wise, although it's going to warm up again next week, I understand. And the leaves begin to change, fall. It's getting fall, autumn's approaching. You, on the other hand, generally get sad because school's about to start. However, you've retired from teaching. So has your mood at all changed? I'll leave the floor to you, and good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning to everybody out there. Mood is always good. Even when I was teaching, I think you read me somewhat wrong. Love the kiddies, but I won't have to deal with them anymore. I am officially retired from the classroom. And people keep asking me, how is retirement? And this is when it'll start showing, within the next month or so, because the summer is summer. Normally, after June 20th, teachers are off until we have to go back for pre-service. Now, I got bombarded by a lot of my cohorts about, hey, man, you're not in the pre-service. Where you at? They called your name out and all that. They were getting on me about not being in pre-service. And I said, oops, my bad. I'll be there. Give me about an hour. I'll be there. So I missed all that. And I think Monday is the first day of school in Suffolk, where I retired from at Nansemond River in terms of teaching. So we'll see what the next month or so bring. I will get myself busy enough to take that time in there. But as far as teaching, 41 years in the classroom was enough with the kiddies. So now it's on to a different venture. And yes, still a free agent in the coaching field for basketball. And as I said, as we turn into September, more than likely I will not be coaching this year. I will take a 1-year hiatus and hope somebody can use me next year.
Okay. Well, fair enough. A lot going on in the world of sports. Ed, college football starting off today in Dublin, Ireland. Florida State, the Seminoles, and the Yellow Jackets getting ready to square off at 12 noon Eastern. More of the higher profile games come next weekend. Of course, you also have, in addition to that, Norfolk State, behold the green and gold. They'll be getting some national primetime exposure tonight, 7:30. I think the kickoff is on ABC. And the local affiliate, you can find that here across the 757 as they take on Florida A&M. So that's pretty cool in that realm. And, you still got the baseball pennant races heating up. Your team in first place, narrowly over the Orioles, who had a big go-ahead blast from Anthony Santander. My team continuing to beat up on whoever's in front of us for the most part. I think still the best record in baseball since the All-Star break or around middle of July. It's been us and San Diego kind of, tit for tat right next to each other. And high school football's underway. I actually got a chance to call here on our Cove of Sports TV YouTube channel alongside Jack Lowe on Friday night. Atlantic Shores, a 48-0 victor over Isle of Wight Academy. All the public schools get rocking and rolling next week. We've had a number of scrimmages. Took in the benefit game. And I'll tell you what, I've done this 20 years that I'm not sure I've seen, and I wasn't at the benefit game last year, as many people for a benefit game or a scrimmage as I did on Thursday night as you snap the fingers for the doggy, the bow wow, give him some treats. You gonna walk your doggy? Remember that from Pacino, by the way? Maury Phoebus on Thursday night at Powhatan Field. That place was bonkers and packed for that. And we'll have some sound either today in the show, if time permits, with Doree McCain and Jeremy Blunt, or if not today on our Monday show that we're going to do. I'm not sure if we're doing it live or we'll be up on our COVID Sports TV YouTube channel, plus VirginiaPreps.com, and all over the social media platforms, wherever you may tune in and watch us each and every week with 757 Saturday Sports Talk, our X page at 757 Sports Talk. We'll be getting it on IG, although we're apparently having some IG difficulties right now. I see streaming this morning. We're going to effort that as we move it along, Ed, but we'll play some sound with Doree McCain and Jeremy Blunt either today or on Monday. But we're rocking and rolling. Football's here. There's no wait. It is here. It's arrived, whether you're ready or not, Mr. Basketball Guy.
Love the pigskin season. It's the one sport that I would say America is thirsty for year-round.
Thirsty.
Even being a basketball fan, I admit football probably is more popular in terms of what people want to see. But I don't mind it. It's a great warm-up for my basketball season, which will be coming up soon enough. It kicks off NBA, I think it was end of October. College basketball in November, high school basketball in December. So it'll kick off. My only question with college football, Dublin, Ireland, Florida State, Georgia Tech.
Yes.
Somebody forget to invite Notre Dame? I mean, would it make sense?
Listen, this is what drives me crazy about you. Now you're going to get me. Now you've gotten under my skin. It didn't take you but 7 minutes and 38 seconds.
You've got
the world does not revolve around your Notre Dame Fighting Irish and your New York Yankees. Nobody cares about them 24/7, 365. You and your, glorious fan bases may care. Even me as a Diamondbacks fan can acknowledge this. Get over your Irish. Get over your Yankees. You guys haven't won anything in how many years? 15 years. Go win something. Gag me with a spoon.
Okay, let me, since you interrupted me once again, I'm asking you a question. How can we have a game in Dublin, Ireland, and no Fighting Irish? The greatest college football game in the history of college football.
Maybe they don't want them. They want to keep them in South Bend, Indiana.
I've talked with some Irish lads this past week, and they even said to me, why is Notre Dame not over here? And all I could say was, I don't make those decisions. So, I don't understand it. The Yankees are on fire. Earlier they were burning. Now they're on fire. They're starting to separate a little bit from Baltimore, but it'll be a race to the end. And we'll talk more baseball when we got Tim on coming up, Tim Kurkjian. He'll be the one to be able to tell us what he sees and what direction maybe things are going to go for baseball. But I still wish somebody could tell me why the Fighting Irish are not on today in Dublin, Ireland. And I'll leave it at that, and I'll wait later.
You know what I'm going to do to get ourselves in big trouble? I'm going to have our man, no longer an intern. He's worked with us at the Plex. Our man, Jack, look up you said on fire. It made me think of the Nutty Professor. I'm on fire, Cletus. I'm on fire. We'll have to get that soundbite as you shake your head. That's bad. I know. Bad. Look at me. I'm bad. After I debunked your intro for today's show, folks. If you all would have seen Ed's intro he wanted played for today's show, we would have been, first of all, we would have been flagged like we were a couple weeks ago with the Olympic thing. We'd have been flagged within 10 seconds of the show starting. Would have been flagged so fast you couldn't even blink.
Went to a great concert last night.
Yeah, T-Pain, we can imagine you did.
Pitbull. It was, as the kiddies say,
Wait, time out real quick. I have to interrupt you this. You said a concert. Was that at the amphitheater?
At the amphitheater.
So you were 5 minutes from us.
Okay, what does that have to do with it?
You could have told us, hey, hi, bye. Bye. Me for, you must. I got you.
No,
you had a party with you. I got you.
We were getting lit with Pitbull and his dancers. Our audience.
He's not going to disclose
the question of today. I've got the question of today, so put it up there. How many people out there listening to us would have liked to seen a little 20-second insert of Pitbull's dancers from last night on here for our opener.
Lynn Burke Lynn wants us to talk football. He doesn't want to talk about Pitbull. He's seen enough in his day.
We're not talking about Pitbull. We're talking about his dancers.
No.
A lot of people out there would have loved to see. Oh my God, would love to see them dancers. But
apparently, you saw plenty of them, judging from your footage that you posted.
They were like right here. I was in the 8th row, first seat, and they were like right here.
Nah, not anymore, Lynn. Maybe back in his day.
No, Lynn, I appreciate you, but I was getting.
Oh, Derek, don't egg him on, Derek.
Yes, Derek.
Egging him on. You're egging him on.
Derek.
Don't do this.
I try to tell Derek, you would have loved it. You would have loved it. You would have. The ladies were dressed proper. Good morning, Woody. You would have loved it too. The ladies were dressed properly. There was nothing bad about them. They could move. They were at excellent physical condition. Probably some former athletes.
This is what I have to put up with, America.
Mr. Worldwide, and we don't have them because this joker don't know.
Would our two Hall of Fame guests, would they have enjoyed the dancers, Teel and Kurkjian?
You know, it would be interesting if, you know what? It would be interesting if Tim and Dave had dancers. Their personalities, I don't think would lead to it.
Yeah.
But I could see both with them dancers out there. It would be, as another thing we used to say, off the chain.
Yeah, off the chain. Before we take a quick break, since we are at high school football, we're going to do our preview show. Have you been studying? And I already know the answer. This is like the kid in class, folks, that's going to cheat off someone's paper. Have you been studying and brushing up on your high school football knowledge for your district by district picks that we're going to do on Monday with the Beach, Eastern, Southeastern Peninsula, Bay Rivers, and not just your top 4 finishers, but your players of the year? Have you been breaking it down, and have you been reading? You don't have to read my material on VirginiaPreps.com, which we've already begun, I guess we should say, the top 10 countdown. We're at like number 5 or 6. I forget where we're at right now, maybe 7 across the state. Have you been reading Will Garlick's in-depth previews and the entire team's in-depth previews? We've had so many. I think we got War Hill up today, Nansman River, Menchville. We've got just tons of teams up there, Richmond teams, Nova teams, Jim McGrath, Danny Lewis, the whole team doing yeoman's work. Have you been brushing up on it, or are you just going to cheat off my paper like you do every year? Well,
I'm going to do like the kiddies did. The show is Monday. I will study Sunday night.
Yep, that's exactly what you're going to do. You're going to do it. And you know what he's going to do, folks? He's going to say, hey, send me all that stuff you were talking about on Saturday because I've been too busy with Pitbull and the dancers, honky-tonking around Hampton Roads and beyond. Where were you, New York last week, Pennsylvania the week before? You've been all over the East Coast, up and down.
With a few more trips coming, but
I'll
probably cram it in there Sunday night and kind of give the old onesies, twosies in terms of opinions as to what's going to happen and what's coming up. So, I'll do that Sunday night. I mean, you know, let's go back to your high school days. You know, probably a good solid 8 years of your life. That's pretty much how you studied, if in fact that word was even in your vocabulary.
I'm not even going to reply to that, as you are now a world traveler, Ed Young. How cool is this? The private school football ticker from last. Look at these scores: Greenbrier Christian 8-man football. Tyson Moravich with 3 TDs, a TD pass, caught a TD. I mean, just beautiful right there. You gotta love it. We've got high school football's back, and you're over there just acting a fool, as the kids would say, acting with, as our buddy Jay Watford would say, straight up foolishness. This morning,
Jay would have loved that. Jay would have.
I'm sure he would have. You would have been. He would have had him, and you and him would have been arming up. Will Foley with a TD pass, TD run, and TD catch. I mean, just beautiful stuff last night. Just absolutely. And you got to pump the music in there. The high school football. It's a little mini beginning of it, Ed. We got some football going. It's just beautiful.
It's good stuff. And I see not a couple. Everybody crunched somebody last night for the most part.
Crunched.
It looks like some preseason was good for some teams and still at the drawing board for some of the other teams. But again, you know, we're talking games August 23rd, and the season goes till for the teams in the state all the way to December. So whole lot of football to go for these teams that won and those teams that lost last night too. So you just got to get it back together.
I don't know if you saw the template I sent your way. We have a ton of high school football coaches, some sound with them that we will either sprinkle today or on Monday's preview show, which includes the likes of James Yeager that we held over from last week, Ocean Lakes, Anthony Joffrey on Kings Fork, Lauren Johnson of Highland Springs, Western Branch coach Rashad Cook caught up with our man Jack Lowe. I was over at the Hampton-Kempsville scrimmage and spoke to the head crabber. It's not Mike Smith anymore, the legendary Mike Smith. He handed it over a couple years ago to one of his assistants in Woodrow Wilson. Jeremy Blunt of Phoebus and Doreen McCain of Maury, a couple of state champs, as I mentioned, and Wayne Lance, who won a state title not too long ago from Atlantic Shores. So we let you pick out there who you want to hear from. Would you like to hear from Coach Lance before we take our first break and then welcome in David Teel in a little bit, Ed? Because last night they got the first W, I think, in the books last night, prevailing over Isle of Wight Academy's Chargers. And it's the 5th straight win for them in the head-to-head series. Would you like to hear from Wayne?
Yeah, let's do that because obviously winning coach from last night, get his thoughts on that first game.
And you can go back also and watch any of the highlights you might have missed in the game. Our broadcast is up on our Cova Sports TV YouTube channel. All of the Atlantic Shores home games from the Plex will be streamed there. So here's what Coach Lance told us about his squad, including the guy we had on the show back in the summer. We talked about him, Napoleon Dynamite. That's Chris Higgins, the wide receiver who's committed to William & Mary as a linebacker. Coach Lance with us after the win last night here on Cova Sports TV at 757 Saturday Sports Talk.
All right, I'm here with Atlantic Shores head football coach Wayne Lance after his team's 48-0 shutout of Isle of Wight Academy to open up the 2024 season. Coach, football's back, and you have to like what you saw tonight. Pretty satisfying defense, pitches a shutout. Special teams made some plays, including a block punt, and then your son, the quarterback Micah, throws 5 TDs to 5 different receivers and has no picks. So all in all, you give it a good grade?
Yeah, I'll give it a good grade. It's always great, especially can't believe this is still August weather, but good to get in, get a lot of guys some experience in this environment. So couldn't be happier.
We spoke a few weeks back on our podcast with Chris Higgins, our William & Mary commit, and he made a couple of nice catches tonight. Just speak on what he's meant. He's a senior now in your program, but what he's meant to your squad and just watching his development these last couple of years, how much of a joy it's been for you.
I think it's been fun to watch. He texted me last night a memory of our state championship year and a scrimmage here against St. Anne's Belfield, and just how he can't believe 4 years now has passed and he's gotten some great experience. So it's kind of made me think back about a lot of these guys, but continuing to see that skinny basketball guy come out and continue to make plays and grow and develop and fall in love with the weight room, it's been pretty cool.
I know when you came to this place several years back that one of the things that was a big emphasis was getting guys to come back, build a culture, identity, and to have guys like we were watching tonight, Caden Beatty, former standout now at Kent State, Brandon Peterson, others watch and tune into your games and still, wear the Atlantic Shores colors and represent the school with pride. How much does that mean to you? Because that's when Higgins goes out to William & Mary and then you have these guys behind him, they want to be the next, whatever that name is, right?
Yeah, actually, I was talking to a couple of those guys and got a bunch of texts today, and I think it's cool to go back and maybe show their highlights in the summertime so other guys can respect and see. We had a few guys on the sideline tonight. It's pretty awesome to see the community and the fans that we have who continue to come out, but then the former players who love coming back, and they kind of know what's happening. They're in touch, they're in tune, they know the grind that is Shores football. So it's always encouraging to get those text messages and hear from them and connect with how they're doing in college too.
For you, what year is this overall and what year is this for you at Shores?
This is 29 overall and 18 at Shores. Okay. So the gray hair is earned.
What keeps the grind and the wheels turning for you and the fire burning? What keeps it?
I love people. I love doing this. Football is an awesome game, allows me to teach life lessons and teach people about things that are bigger than life. But everything kind of goes into a microcosm of the game. There are lessons to be learned, and a lot of those guys who've gone on end up being businessmen. They all end up being fathers. They all end up being husbands. They all end up, working and giving to the grind of life, and hopefully they're better people for having come through.
What's in front of this team? I know you didn't make the playoffs last year and had that championship push, but what do you like about this team, and what, I know it's hard to say after game one, but what must this team do and get better at to achieve some of the goals and things on the checklist?
I like where we are coming out of the summer. We travel a little bit and go to 7-on-7s, and we'll play and match some very, very good teams, but you never know until the line gets involved, and that's real football. So it's great to play in your underwear essentially, with all the tights and spandex and everything, but then to see guys begin to put things together, and I think it becomes so cliche. I was listening to your podcast a couple weeks ago and talking about all those things that coaches will say, and it is what it is, and really you're not saying anything, but just continued growth. on a day-to-day basis. You can say that it's 1-0 every week, but learning from your mistakes, building on, getting stronger, and continuing to mature through, and watching players develop and mature. We got a lot of young guys who probably when they came out thought, I'll get run over. And they came out and were going up against another team's ones and, putting their noses in there and not showing that they're willing to let down, that they want to be the next ones to take up the mantra.
And lastly, schedule's going to be another challenging one for you. You've still got Roanoke Catholic coming up next week. Catholic, I know North Cross is a team you want to get some payback with, Blue Ridge as well. For this group, do you feel like there's a different level of maybe hunger and passion after what happened last year, not kind of fulfilling some of the things you wanted to do?
Yeah, and I think the guys driving it, like, for example, we have a lot of skill guys returning on offense. Basically, our entire starting group from last year is back. And then we have a couple other guys, Christian Franks, Campbell Clark, a couple other guys showing. And then you have Zeke Madrano on the line, who's kind of, him and Travion Morgan were starters last year, kind of gluing that group together and flip around on defense. And I really think sometimes that it's really cool to watch guys who play both ways. Looking at Chris, for example, who is an outstanding receiver, but he's going to play defense in college. And you realize that having the flexibility to go both ways really shows a lot on film. So it's just a continual maturity of a team, a group coming together and playing for each other and not for themselves. And hopefully we can see where we go, because it continues to get harder week by week. And then you get to reset it and go 0-0 before the playoffs if you can get in. And it's a tough year. There's a lot of great teams, and a lot of kids have, some programs have shut down and kids have matriculated to other places. So those schools are up, and it'll be a tough road.
Well, always better to start 1-0 than 0-1. Come check out Coach Lance and the Seahawks. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon.
See you next week.
So that was Wayne Lance, head football coach of the Seahawks of Atlantic Shores, 48-0 winner on Friday night over the Isle of Wight Academy Chargers. It was seen right here on Cova Sports TV, wherever you may be tuning in. We thank you for doing so. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. You'll get notifications when we go live with all kinds of things, including Virginia Beach Mustangs football later on today, and some neat things forthcoming in the month of September and beyond. Ed, pretty good start for them. 5 touchdown passes to 5 different receivers for the youngster Micah Lance. How about that? Not too shabby, huh?
That it's the kind of game Wayne kind of alluded to it. He got to play a lot of people. I would say everybody on that squad played last night. Probably played some decent minutes too to get him out there. And basically, it was like another scrimmage for them. Isle of Wight Academy quite not in that category. Atlantic Shores is right now, and they'll get their stuff together as the season goes on too. They're playing a lot of young kids that did not get a whole lot of time last year, and not strength in numbers either. So you're going to have games like that. Now, sometimes the question is, as a coach, do you want an opening game like that, or you want a close game where it's a nail biter? It could be whoever has the ball last. It's opposite ends of the spectrums. And I really think that depends on the type of squad that you have. Me personally, of course, taking the sport of basketball, I like a game that early, first game of the year, where you can play a lot of kids, really go over, do things that you did in practice to come up for that first game, build some momentum for them. Everybody feels good about themselves, except, of course, the other team. Right. But you also have to warn your team. Now, not every game is going to be like this now. The old coach jumps in there. Here comes negative Nanny, as they say. Okay, let's enjoy this, but let's get it out of our system, because our next opponent is not who we just played. So you have to get ready for it. If you have a stronger team, maybe a playoff potential type team, you might want a game where it's whoever has the ball last probably going to win the game. You get tested quick, and then kind of see what kind of resolve your kids have right off the bat. But you still have, even if you lose it, you still have the whole season to go. You just maybe not go undefeated. So it's opposite end of spectrums. And last night, Wayne's squad got to enjoy the idea of playing everybody, trying different things, and hopefully everybody went home happy.
And speaking of Wayne Lance, as we will now pop it up on the screen, he looks like he's shrinking it. There's he and Micah each year. Micah is now a junior, and from 8th to 9th to 10th and now 11th grade. It looks like Wayne is shrinking and Micah's getting bigger.
I would say Wayne is holding his own. And
I don't know. He looks shorter in these pictures year by year.
Well, I'm going to think that the youngster just keeps getting bigger and bigger. That's how
two things can be true. Like, listen, people, two things can be true. For example, people love me and they hate you. Both things can be true. They can love me and they can hate you. Two things can be true.
Most of the people that I run into, it's the opposite. They say, you do a great job holding Hatfield up.
Whoa. Why would the people that you run into that hate you, why would they run into you? They would want to run away from you.
No, most of the people I see, they're pretty decent people. And then they do try to Lambrusco you, and I have to say, hey.
Lambrusco, that's a good word.
Yeah, that's an Italian phrase. I can't
Lambrusco. He's dropping Lambrusco in the first 26 minutes of the show, ladies and gents.
And I tell the people, don't bash him. He's a good dude. Hatfield means well. He's a good dude. I understand the pool segments bother you. And, he wears his Arizona gear. But, he's repping his team. There's nothing wrong with all 6 of those fans representing those teams. You can't, you got your team to rep. Let those 6 people love Arizona. There's nothing wrong. So I try to, unlike you, I defend you as much as I can in the public eye. You are passing out flyers. Don't vote for Young. Impeach Young. And I'm not even running.
No. By the way, you see what my wonderful 8-year-old niece, shout out to Noelle, gave me? She gave me a turtle. And she goes back to school Monday. My energetic, lovely, and talented niece. I'm so excited for this return of school for a variety of reasons. See this little turtle she gave me? Isn't that cute? So nice. Kids are wonderful.
Put the turtle back where he belongs. You
put it in the pool? Can I go back in the pool?
Resting the turtle. Now I got to call PETA on you. We already got to call the pool agents. Now you've got a turtle that's struggling, and you're sitting there flashing the turtle. Now I see why people come to me and say Hatfield's got to go, and I keep trying to tell them no, but you're making it hard for me to defend you.
Well, we're going to take a timeout and hear from the great people that sponsor this show. Oh, by the way, you can get VBU soccer. I know that the season just concluded. You can get season tickets. We're going to let you hear about that coming up, available for next summer. They had a great run to the playoffs, and you didn't go to any VBU soccer games. I heard about it last night. Where were you and Ed at the soccer? I said, well, Ed was too busy doing wrestling and traveling the world because he is the world traveler, Ed Young. But we're going to take a timeout and come back and talk with the legendary, living legend, Virginia Sports Hall of Famer, columnist for the Richmond Times-Dispatch. We'll go around the sport of college football with him, the Commonwealth flavor with the likes of UVA and Virginia Tech out of the ACC, plus Old Dominion, James Madison. I'm sure Ed will pepper him about the 12-team playoff and a whole lot more. It's all coming your way here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Again, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button as we talk to you until 11:30, maybe a little bit past 11:30, depending on how long and long-winded both Ed and I are this morning on the program. But let's take a time out and hear from not just VBU, but CHKD, and we'll be back in just a bit right here on Cova Sports TV.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar, IV hydration and vitamin therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
Hey folks, we're back. Here's today's joke. Why don't they play cards in the jungle? Any guesses? Too many cheetahs. That's right, too many cheetahs.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we're back here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe wherever you may be tuning in on our YouTube channel, all over the web, Apple, Spotify, Facebook, IG, X at 757 Sports Talk. And then we've got a special guest with us. He is the Virginia Sports Hall of Famer for the Richmond Times-Dispatch. You can check out his fabulous work in the rtdrichmond.com. Give him a follow as well on X or Twitter. Still people call it that. By David Teel. We say hello to our pal, David Teel. David, how's the summer been for you? And did you and the Teel clan make any special trips around the globe? I know you're a world traveler like Ed is. So anywhere you go in particular during the summer months?
First of all, gentlemen, good morning. Happy week 0 for those who celebrate. And yes, thanks to Jill Teel. We had an awesome, spring vacation in late May to Alaska, Washington, Oregon, and Northern California. Grand time, just seeing some breathtaking sights and doing some hiking and closing it out with a Giants-Phillies game in San Francisco.
Oh, nice. Who won that one?
Oh, the Phillies crushed them.
Phillies crushed him. All right. Well, I tell you what, I'm jealous of you and Ed, who's been the world traveler this summer. Now that he's retired from teaching, remains to be seen if he'll still be coaching. And even Harry Minium, who we had on a few weeks ago, one of your comrades, who's been all over the world too, and he's been overseas. I haven't made any trips this summer except to the pool. That's been my vacations. So
hey, the pool's all right, man.
It's not bad. It's not bad. But I want to begin with you, and Ed will jump in here in a moment. Dublin today. Florida State snubbed from last year's college football playoff as life for Mike Norvell's Seminoles begins post-Jordan Travis. They take on a Yellow Jackets team that many feel will be improved. Ordinarily, DT, I would say this is not a game I'm juiced up for, but I'll be around the telly because college football, it's here, and we've been deprived of the sport for 6-7 months now, and I'm game. What says you?
Oh, absolutely. I think it's a sneaky good game, Matt. Georgia Tech with Haynes King, a dynamic quarterback who transferred in a couple of years ago from Texas A&M, had a game down there in College Station where they beat Alabama. His primary area to improve is ball security. He threw it away 16 times to the other squad a year ago, and that needs to change if the Yellow Jackets are to take the next step under Brent Key. And I was listening to Reese Davis on a podcast recently. He came up with this nugget. Under Brent Key, Georgia Tech is 4-0 against ranked ACC opponents. So beware DJU and Florida State.
So this could be part 2 potentially of last year's surprise and shocker. I didn't see it coming, but Ed kind of warned me that Duke could knock off Clemson a year ago to start the season. Didn't see it coming. So this one could go down the wire in your eyes, potentially.
Yeah, I think the big key, Matt, is Florida State is really good on the offensive line, and Georgia Tech was terrible defensively last season. Now they've revamped the coaching staff. They stocked up through the portal. But I think the primary question is whether the Yellow Jackets defense can hold up.
All right, good deal. Ed?
David, thanks for coming on this morning. I got to back up real quick. I think I heard you say you went to Alaska, the far west, because Jill set it all up. Had you set it up, you might have went to your backyard, put up a couple lawn chairs, and hope everybody was happy with a cookout.
Actually, no, Ed. We went to Alaska at my request. Jill set it all up and got all the logistics. At the risk of TMI, I turned 65 this summer, and Jill said, "Where would you like to go that you haven't been?" And I was like, "Man, I want to go to Alaska. I want to be on a glacier." And that's exactly what we did. We took a helicopter landed on a glacier, strapped some spikes on our hiking boots, and traipsed around a glacier. It was breathtaking and the experience of a lifetime.
That is tremendous. My point was this: without Jill, that trip might have not happened if you had to do all the planning, only because you're so involved with the college football and stuff. So hats off to Jill.
Oh, no question. She is a planner extraordinaire.
Okay. All right. Now let's jump back into football. I'm excited too. Of course, everybody knows I'm basketball. I get excited during basketball season, but with football coming up, starting, I'm excited too. Now, I posed a question to Matt, and he went off this morning because he's a hater. I said, how are we in Dublin, Ireland, and the greatest football program of all time is not playing, with Notre Dame not there? But I will let that go because they're not there. It is Georgia Tech, Florida State. I kind of look at it as, I think Florida State wins this by 3 touchdowns at least. And my reasoning is Georgia Tech, yes, has revamped. Yes. They're traveling over there. Sure, it's Florida State, but Georgia Tech is still a little bit all over the place. And they're trying to get their foot down to say, okay, here we are. Florida State is coming off a year where they got to be a little angry that, hey, we got snubbed. Now, as a coach, all that raw motivation is nice, but once the game starts, you have to produce. You can't worry about all that other stuff. It's, protect the football and we have it, get the football and we don't. I think Florida State's a little bit further advanced. The big thing is what team will handle this travel the best in terms of distractions or whatever. And I think Florida State right now is a little bit more built for that. And I do agree Georgia Tech is better than what they were last year, but it's just a gut feeling. I just think Florida State's a 3-touchdown favorite in this game.
Florida State's much more talented, Ed, especially on the defensive side. The Seminoles front, you've got Patrick Payton and the Georgia transfer, Marvin Jones Jr., coming off the edge. You've got one of the best defensive tackles in the country in Joshua Farmer. They are really good there. They've got an experienced linebacker in DJ Lundy. They've got a set of cornerbacks, one of whom is a transfer from UVA, Fentrell Cypress. This is his second season in Tallahassee. And another one, Azariah Thomas, whom many project as a first-round NFL draft choice. The Noles could be absolutely filthy on defense. And as better or as improved as many anticipate Georgia Tech will be this season, it may not be reflected in the Jackets' record because the schedule is so difficult, starting with today. And they'll bookend it with their traditional regular season finale against Georgia. But in between, they'll be playing Clemson, they'll be playing Notre Dame. And oh, by the way, Ed, you being a Fighting Irish guy, Notre Dame played in this game last year against Navy.
That's right. They can't do it every year, Ed, for crying out loud. We had Northwestern in Nebraska, was it 2 years ago? David, that was a pretty good game, actually. Surprisingly.
Yeah, well, the Northwestern-Nebraska game, while close, was a terrible display of football and probably turned the Irish off to the sport forever. And you'll recall, Northwestern won, and that was their only win of the season. And then 3 weeks after losing that game, Nebraska pitched Scott Frost overboard.
Yeah. It had some drama, I guess, is what I was getting at. It wasn't a blowout.
Yes, the quality was a little lacking.
Agree. The quality wasn't upper crust, but we'll see next week with some of these big games. I want to get to that with you here in a moment with David Teel with the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Paul, and this one, I got 2 questions I'll throw your way, even though I'm pretty sure I know what one of your answers will be here. Paul Feinbaum recently stated, and he of the SEC network, ESPN, and we know he is slanted towards the SEC here, so I'll put that disclaimer out here to begin with. He said, quote, there are really 2 conferences. The rest of them don't matter. They're literally playing for third place, in reference to the SEC and Big Ten as the big gorillas in the room here. So, number one, do you think he's right, David? And then furthermore, do you think a lot of the public, whether it's in our state or any portion of the country, north, south, east, west, middle America, feel that way?
Number one, I don't think Feinbaum's right. And the numbers don't prove him right. Now, is the SEC the behemoth in the room? 100%. That's what happens when you win national championships all the time. And that's what happens when you put multiple teams in the playoff consistently. But if you look at the decade-long history, Matt, of the 4-team playoff, ACC teams had a better record than Big Ten teams. ACC teams won as many national championships as Big Ten teams. So this notion that somehow the Big Ten is head and shoulders above the ACC, to me, is pure folly. And oh, by the way, last season, the ACC went 7-5 head up against the SEC. And including, Florida State got hosed. There's just no doubt in my mind. And in its regular season finale against Florida, playing its second string quarterback on the road in Gainesville, the Seminoles still win that game. Now, granted, the Gators were also using their second string quarterback, and it wasn't a terribly good Florida team. But Florida State beat Florida more convincingly than Washington beat Washington State, than Georgia beat Georgia Tech there on rivalry weekend. So, no, I don't agree with Feinbaum. Do I think folks around the country do? I think probably yes, because of all the attention that the conferences have received from their recent additions and expansions. Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC, and then Washington, Oregon, UCLA, and USC to the Big Ten. But remind me, how many times did USC and UCLA get to the playoff?
Haven't happened yet, I don't believe. We have to go back to the Reggie Bush, Matt Leinart days that the Trojans were playing in big games.
Correct. So I'm not sure that it's all that. And, we'll see it proved out now with the 12-team playoff, which is going to be absolutely fascinating on so many levels. And I think part of the perception of the Big Ten and the SEC being miles ahead of the ACC is the television contracts and revenue. And that's partly our fault in the media, including me, because we spend so much of our time writing and talking about revenue and contracts rather than what actually goes on the field. And I'm not sure where that demarcation point was when we started to do that. But when we started to do it, fans started to get obsessed about it. More important, boards of trustees started to obsess about it. And that's why you have Florida State and Clemson, because of their dissatisfaction with the ACC's TV deal, suing to get out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I want to hit with you on the ACC right now, because that is your wheelhouse here. Which teams are in most need of a big season? I know you had an article recently in the Richmond Times-Dispatch sort of detailing this. And then which are most capable in your eyes of taking a big leap forward? And could one of them be in our own state with the Hokies, who are getting a lot of buzz right now under Brent Pry and making some inroads in recruiting?
They are, Matt, the Hokies, and deservedly so. Granted, a 7-6 season a year ago is not up to standards in Blacksburg, but I think it's the way they finished, winning 5 of their last 7, waxing Tulane in the Military Bowl. The big thing with Virginia Tech that they have to prove is, can they beat good teams? Now, Tulane was good during the regular season, but was decimated for the bowl, was playing under an interim coach. We saw what that did to Virginia Tech in the Pinstripe Bowl against Maryland a few years ago, when they got just absolutely hammered. You have no personnel, your coaching staff's in disarray. So I kind of discount the Tulane game. Last season, the Hokies went 5-3 in the ACC. Those 5 wins were over the bottom 5 teams in the standings. And the 3 teams they lost to, Florida State, Louisville, and NC State, were the top 3 teams in the league. So the Hokies need to prove they can beat quality opposition. Now, the story you're referring to is one where I posited that the ACC's top brands are clearly Florida State, Clemson, Miami, and Virginia Tech. And they've never really had a season where 3 or all 4 of them simultaneously had really good years. And that's what the ACC desperately needs. It can't afford to become a one-bid league in this new expanded playoff. It needs to become a multi-bid league on a consistent basis. That's the only way to change the narrative, and it's the only way to get more money out of the CFP television deal.
David, looking at the 12-team playoff and getting back to this, you got the two dominant conferences, which I kind of believe, and I'm blaming it on you guys in the media because that's who you talked about, as you said. But correct me if I'm wrong, the playoff positioning is already set. In other words, I know what's going to come up. SEC people are going to say our number 5 is better than ACC 2 or Conference USA number 1. All that kind of talk is going to start coming up. And to me, you can't have a true playoff unless you conclude all the champions of Division I conferences. They have to be in there. And you've got to be careful taking below number 3, 4, 5. You start taking those teams because what you're essentially saying is SEC is better than everybody else, so we have to go deep into their playoff. Tell me about all that.
Well, the way it works now, Ed, is all 9 FBS conferences do not have a guaranteed bid to the playoff. The way it's going to work is the top 5 rated conference champions are guaranteed a bid, and then they will take the next 7 as at-larges regardless of conference affiliation. So what this does is it guarantees the highest rated group of 5 champion a bid to the playoff, which is historic. In the 10-year history of the 4-team playoff, the only G5 team to make it was Cincinnati when it won the AAC in 2021 and was undefeated. Now the Bearcats have since moved up to the Power Club in the Big 12. But a year ago, had the 12-team playoff been in effect, Liberty would have played at Florida State in the first round of the CFP.
Wow. And I've even seen Brett McMurphy, David, I'm sure you have too, in his projected bracket. He's got like Texas State as his 12th seed to crash the party out of the Sun Belt. So it makes me laugh, also smile, and it's something that's neat and unique. And I think it puts a little more eyeballs on some of these games that ordinarily would not have those eyeballs on them because of the stakes.
Oh, absolutely, Matt. The Power Conference championship games, the first Saturday in December, you're playing essentially for an automatic bid. And then you've got the G5 championship games. All those teams are thinking, can we be the highest ranked G5 champion and get into that playoff and have our moment in the sun and maybe pull up Boise State Fiesta Bowl type upset where you really get yourself on the map, and it's just not a one-hit wonder, because then you advance and play again in a major bowl in the quarterfinals. So it's going to be fascinating. And the great thing about the first round games is they're going to be on campus. And I really hope that eventually the CFP will put the quarterfinals on campus as well, so the top 4 seeds can get a home game. Because right now, yes, you get a bye if you're a top 4 seed, but you can't get a home game. Everything is neutral.
So yet it makes it easier for your Irish, even if they get 3 or 4 losses, to make the playoff now.
True, but we're not going to get 3 or 4 losses. We'll probably have 1 or 2. But David, my thing is, and I look at it from a coaching perspective, the smaller conference teams, and we have this argument in basketball every year, how are they ever going to get the notoriety unless they join the big boys? And now you got 30 teams in a conference to say, okay, we won our conference, but yet number 5 in the SEC gets in because they have a stronger rating. Even though on paper we see, and I'll just throw a team out there. Yes, Oklahoma had a heck of a schedule. And if they were in the Sun Belt, they would go undefeated and win by 50. But you can't use that kind of talk. You have to go by reality as to what happened. And I don't like it as a coach to see a team that's really done. You mentioned like Liberty had a great year. And then last year they would have been rewarded with first round game at Florida. I think you said Florida State.
Florida State.
So okay, wow. But at least they're in. I think under this situation, you're going to get one or two really good lower level teams, G5, whatever, are not going to get in. And people are just going to say, oh, well, that's the way it is because you've got to feed the big boys. And to me, again, I just think personally that's for those teams, I don't think it's right.
No, it is difficult, but I think the group of 5 administrators, commissioners, athletic directors, they're pleased to at least have the guaranteed access of one team. And the suspicion is, and I think it's a very accurate one, is if, say, last season, Liberty was number 23 in the final CFP rankings. And they would have displaced in the playoff number 12, Oklahoma. That's not going to fly for very long with the power conference brokers. Now, the good news for the group of 5 is the previous 9 years of the playoff, at least one group of 5 champion was in the top 20 and oftentimes in the top 15. You'll remember a Memphis team, a couple of Central Florida teams, a Western Michigan squad. That's what the group of 5 really needs to hope for, is someone, be it a Texas State, be it a James Madison, be it a Liberty, runs the table and is among those top 15 where folks don't say, oh, there's no way they belong. But if they're in the top 15, then you can make the argument, okay, yeah, we're giving them a spot in a 12-team playoff, but it's not that much of a reach. But if the top G5 champion isn't even in the top 25 for a couple of years, that automatic access is going to go away.
Interesting. In our last couple of minutes here with the Virginia Sports Hall of Famer David Teel of the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Check out his work online. You can follow him at by David Teel on X or Twitter, also richmond.com here, and we'll get David on during the season. I know he'll be a busy man traveling all over the globe, if you will, covering some of these games in the ACC involving the Hokies and the Who's and many other teams around the sport of college football. And you sort of touched on it, David. We'll get some quick idle thoughts to get you to close here before we take a break you touched on the Hokies, but the Who's, your read on them this year. Some feel they could be improved roster-wise, but it may not show in the win-loss record. I know you had a piece in the paper on Old Dominion, in fact, a couple of Richmond products in Chris Trinidad and Isaiah Page, they of LC Bird and Verona High School. You're feeling the Monarchs, and also a place I know you bleed some purple and gold like my pops. JMU's got a new head coach. They really transitioned well from FCS to FBS. They have a new head coach in Bob Chesney from Holy Cross, taking over for Kurt Signetti, who's going to Indiana. You're feeling the Dukes of JMU, the Monarchs of ODU, and the Cavaliers of UVA. What kind of seasons the fan bases can expect from those squads in your eyes?
I think among those 3, Matt, James Madison is best positioned, and I don't say that because I graduated from there many, many moons ago. But even with rampant turnover on the roster due to transfers out after Kurt Signetti departed for Indiana, JMU's got some pieces. They went and got Dylan Morris from Washington out of the portal at quarterback. They added a couple of very good running backs, including George Pettaway from North Carolina, coming home to his Virginia roots. You know him well from his time in high school ball over in Suffolk. And I think JMU is in position to contend in the Sun Belt East. Old Dominion was so fascinating last year. I don't think any college football team in America played more one-score games than the Monarchs. 11 of 13 guys, including all 8 league games, were decided by 7 points or fewer. That's remarkable. And the Monarchs, gained bowl eligibility in the regular season finale against Georgia State, then lost to Western Kentucky in their postseason game. So they finished 6-7. They've got Grant Wilson back at quarterback. They've got some other pieces. They took some transfer hits at running back, But that non-conference schedule, ouch. South Carolina, East Carolina, Virginia Tech, Bowling Green. If the Monarchs can get out of there with a win or two, I think you feel a lot better about them. And Matt, I agree with your assessment of Virginia. Better, yes, but will it be reflected in the record? Because the schedule is so dicey, particularly the back half. You've got road games in the second half of the season at Clemson, Notre Dame, and Virginia Tech. That is a rough stretch, guys. And that's what makes, say, week 2 for the Cavaliers at Wake Forest so essential. Got to get a game like that. And then the following week at home against Maryland, those are 2 winnable games, but also games you could lose. And if you lose those 2 and combine it with the back half of the schedule, it's difficult to envision the Cavaliers getting to that 6-win bowl threshold. But we still don't know who the quarterback is. Is it Anthony Calandria? Is it Tony Muskett? I think there's more upside with Calandria, the sophomore, maybe a little more security with Muskett, the seasoned veteran.
Yeah, a lot of unanswered questions still, but we'll be finding out more as we'll kick things off with a whole bunch of teams. Next week, college football underway, and we're so excited. And we say congrats again to the Virginia Sports Writer of the Year. He's got more of those now, I think, than Bob Costas has Emmys. David Teel of the Richmond Times-Dispatch. Always a pleasure, my friend. We'll get you back on throughout your travels, and we love having you on the program. We might even test out our question option now where we have some fans that can interact with you and throw some questions your way via YouTube, Facebook, and all the social platforms. Be well, and we'll talk again down the road.
Sounds great, guys. Thanks for having me.
Our pleasure.
Thanks, David.
That is the one and only David Teel with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Coming up next, we have the Hall of Famer Tim Kurkjian of ESPN on Major League Baseball. He will chat with us about all the things happening in the sport. We love getting Tim on as well. Back-to-back Hall of Famers, a real pleasure to have Tim on the show, as it is with David. And look who's chiming in with us. It's our man Bob Lanham. Says, hey, Coach. Stopped at the rest area. Love you. We love Sideline Bob, one of the best photographers out there in VA. We'll have to connect with Bob pretty soon here with high school football startup. But we'll take a time out. We got Tim Kurkjian coming your way next right here on Cova Sports TV. After we hear a quick word from the sponsors that make it possible for us to do this with you each and every week from the Plex, including John's Tax Services.
Pain and Gain, your one-stop shop for all things field hockey. Located in Princess One Shopping Center, Virginia Beach, we carry everything you need on the turf, from black sticks, turf shoes, mouth guards, and much more. Try out your stick before you buy in our synthetic turf area. Pain and Gain. Embrace the pain, enjoy the game.
Well, it's everybody's favorite time of year again. Time to prepare to make your annual donation to that infernal revenue service. And if you're like me, you need help. Help to keep that donation as small as possible. So get off your W-2 and call John Maynard at John's Tax Service. 455-6763.
As a banker at Town Bank, we believe that people bank with people, not with banks. You're looking for an actual personal relationship, and that's what you get at our bank. You get that person that gets to know you, gets to know your business, is there for you. I think that is what motivates us, what drives us, and the idea that we are trying to serve others and enrich lives, I think is very true.
At CHKD, sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League Two Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
After more than 50 years of innovation, AstroTurf still leads the way. The inventor of artificial turf does it all, right here in the USA. We engineer, test, manufacture, and install the world's most innovative fibers and turf technologies, with over 30,000 tracks and fields worldwide. AstroTurf, powered by Sport Group.
This is 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
And we welcome you back to 757 Saturday Sports Talk here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. We have a special guest with us. He is the very best when it comes to talking Major League Baseball, the Hall of Famer from ESPN. We say hello to our pal, Tim Kurkjian, on the show. Tim, thanks for stopping by. I want to start with you. First and foremost, people know you from TV, radio, and you now have the podcast with your son. We talked about it last time. Is this a great game or what? People can check it out at greatgameorwhat.com. But you were at the Little League World Series in Williamsport, I believe, last week. How cool was that extra inning game last Sunday night between the Tigers and Yankees with all the kid energy? I know Ed didn't love it as a Yankees fan, and just the whole pageantry of the Little League World Series.
Well, this was my 10th year, and it was my best year there, and the other 9 are tied for second. That's how much fun it is to do the Little League World Series. I mean, let's face it, I'm there for 2 things, scale and context, since half the kids are taller than I am, which is ridiculous. But they are so much fun to be around. They are so good for 12 years old. It's remarkable. And, of course, we had a great game on Sunday night. Tarek Skubal was great. The Tigers came back and won that game. It's a magical place, Williamsport. It's my favorite assignment other than the real World Series every year. And Tito Francona, the great, hilarious former manager, once described Williamsport as it's where baseball meets the county fair. If you've never been there, you got to go. That's how good it is.
You heard it there from Tim, Ed. It was a great game last Sunday night. So get over it. Just because your Yanks lost, and they're still playing great baseball. They're in first place, and Aaron Judge is hitting more home runs than anybody in the world right now. So you can breathe easy, Ed. It's still okay.
Well, my thing, Tim, and good morning to you, Tim, and again, thanks for coming on. My thing was, I watched it. Yeah, I wanted to see the Yankees win. It would have made it. It would have been the whipped cream on the milkshake. But that was one game I didn't really lament that they lost because of the atmosphere. To see those kids hanging with Soto, Judge, and unfairly, some people got on Judge about not signing an autograph to or whatever. And come on now, he can't go around and sign every single autograph, because I think Aaron Judge, among any player, gives as much as himself as he can, because he's like a big kid half the time too. But that you're right, Tim, the pageantry of that and those kids around those big leaguers, they'll talk about that forever.
Yeah, I was on the bus last Sunday with the Tigers, which carried the Tigers team and a bunch of little leaguers. And I was interviewing the players on the bus while they were talking to 12-year-old kids. It was just priceless. Kerry Carpenter of the Tigers, really good hitter, is sitting in the back, and kids are asking him, what's it like to face, Garrett Cole? What's it like to face, Blake Snell? And Kerry Carpenter is back there giving detailed scouting reports on pitchers. It was just the greatest thing, the engagement between the kids and the players. And remember, last year, Bryce Harper walked to home plate during the game. He's going up to take a major league at bat. All the kids are right up against the fence there. And he looks at one of them and he said, I hope I hit a ball as hard tonight as you did yesterday. I mean, what a thrill of a lifetime for a kid. He was a foot away from Bryce Harper, and it was just magical.
For sure. I know Ed's going to pepper you with some Yankee stuff here in a bit, but Tim, I want to get to another game. Sometimes it can be overstated how big one win was, but for you, the significance of the victory on Friday night for the Baltimore Orioles, as you know, they're the parent club of the Norfolk Tides, who are in our backyard here in the 757 in Tidewater in Virginia. Anthony Santander with the go-ahead blast against the surging Houston Astros. You're feeling on that game, the O's who've had some pitching issues and injuries pop up here in that American League, which is topsy-turvy right now. And everybody's had great records since the All-Star break, but it's going to be buckle up your seatbelt and enjoy the ride till October.
Right. Well, it was a great win for the Orioles, and it was necessary because the Yankees are getting it together again, and they can't lose sight of where the Yankees are right now. The Orioles also beat a really good and really hot team in the Astros, and they beat the strength of that team, which is the back end of the bullpen, which has finally gotten it together. But they knocked Brian Abreu around pretty hard last night. Huge win for the Orioles. And now they have to figure out how they're going to get to the finish line with all these injured pitchers. Zach Eflin, the last one to go down. But they're going to score enough runs, I think. And I think they still have enough starting pitching to get them where they need to go. But this American League race and National League race wide open right now.
Tim, my thing with
here we go. We're back here with Tim Kurkjian with us on 757 Sports TV. Sorry about that. We lost some audio for a second. But, Ed, you can jump in here with Tim. I mean, I know your man Judge is blasting home runs left and right, but like Tim said, even the AL Central race with Cleveland, Kansas City, Minnesota is tightening, and Bobby Witt Jr., Jose Ramirez have been great. So it's not going to be an easy situation to get home field for your Bronx Bombers.
Yeah, first off, Judge has 49 homers now, and he's going to hit 60, and he's going to win the MVP unless Bobby Witt goes completely crazy the last 5.5 weeks and tears it up and carries single-handedly the Royals into the playoffs. But Judge is having, to me, an even better year than he had when he won the MVP a couple of years ago. He has been stunningly good, and he's doing stuff that only Maris and Mantle and Babe Ruth have done. He's doing it in a way where he's playing defense, he runs the bases, and all he has to do is stay healthy. He's the biggest reason that the Yankees are where they are. And that, again, that American League is wide open. There are no great teams in the American League, but I believe the Orioles, Yankees, Astros, maybe the Guardians or Royals or Twins even could get to the World Series because there's no absolutely tremendous team out there.
Ed?
Yeah, Tim, you mentioned Astros. I don't know why. I just keep thinking in the back of my mind as a team we got to worry about. I say we, the Yankees. And again, I'm not saying the Yankees got anything made. I'm on a couple of Yankee fan sites on social media, and them fans are just – Boone was fired months ago. I think they got rid of Cashman before that, and now I think they want Steinbrenner's head on a plate. It's unbelievable. And they're talking about we should release Verdugo, and Rizzo and DJ are already gone. Them people are just crazy. But I still think we have a race. I still think Baltimore's going to be in it. So many teams go up and down. Yankees had the great start, and then they fishtailed it out of the way. Now maybe Baltimore's sinking a little bit. Injuries are playing a big part of it, and you can't really prepare for injuries. Is there a team out there, we're not talking about it all, either league, that, hey, come World Series time, it could be them. And I have to give Matt a little bit of prop because last year was Arizona, and I think they're just under the radar right now to keep an eye on.
Got to get healthy, though. Got to get healthy. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Tim.
Well, we've been over the American League teams. There are 6 of them, maybe 7 that have a chance to go to the World Series. And I think it's the same thing in the National League. Phillies, Braves, Mets. I mean, somebody's going to get hot here. The Brewers are really good, better than people think. The Dodgers, of course, are the Dodgers. And the two, Arizona and San Diego have been the 2 best teams in baseball the second half of the season. Both of those teams are capable of not only going to, but winning the World Series. I do not remember a season, fellas, where we're this late into it, and there is no prohibitive favorite in either league, and this many teams have a chance to get to the World Series and win it. That's why baseball is the greatest game. Is if you get hot at the right time, there's no telling what can happen, as opposed to my second favorite sport, basketball. When Jordan's Bulls were rolling, we already knew pretty much they were going to win the NBA championship. We don't know who's going to win the World Series this year, and there are a whole bunch of options.
You warm Ed's heart with basketball being your second favorite sport. We're talking with the Hall of Famer, ESPN Major League Baseball analyst Tim Kurkjian here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. And also check out the podcast he does with his son, Jeff. Is This a Great Game or What? It's on greatgameorwhat.com. Tim, as you know, I'm a D-backs fan like Ed is a Yankees fan, but I am concerned with some of the pitching and the injuries. Ketel Marte's been dinged up lately. Christian Walker's been out, although Josh Bell's been great. But you just hit on two teams. Nobody's playing, or at least for lately, nobody's been playing over 600 baseball the whole year. So people have been squawking about this is a problem for the sport. I'm like you. I think this is fantastic. The parity of the sport. Anybody goes here. Two teams, though, people like the Phillies and Dodgers the most in the National League. And I'll even admit, as a D-backs fan, the team that worries me is San Diego. They don't have a healthy Yu Darvish yet. He's coming back. They don't have a healthy Fernando Tatis Jr. He's coming back. Jackson Merrill's come out of nowhere. And the job Pat Murphy's on Milwaukee is just incredible. Speak on those two. And do you think both of them have legitimate chances? Do you like one more than the other as far as possibly getting to the Fall Classic?
Yeah, look, I like the Phillies and the Dodgers first. However, the Padres are really dangerous because they can hit, and they're going to hit even more when Tatis Jr. comes back. Their starting pitching is loaded, but only when Yu Darvish comes back, which is a question. When's he coming back, and what's he going to look like when he comes back? They have an elite closer, and they are playing with an energy right now. That ballpark lights them up. So I think that's the one team that is not in first place right now that could really do some damage in the postseason.
I miss that used to affect some teams. Late season pickups, waiver wire pickups in August, September. It's now, quote, outlawed, which I'm going to put in the category dumb rule, like the outlawing of the shift. What was Major League Baseball reason for eliminating it? Was that done by the Players Union, or was it management, or a combination of both? But once the trade line is done, the only way you pick up players now is if somebody gets released, you can go ahead and pick them up. And that's how that's how some teams are doing. You've seen a lot of dump off of contracts. But what was the impetus for that? No more waiver wire deal.
Yeah, what they're thinking of is they want everything to come down to the trade deadline, and they don't want guys leaking out in a gentleman's agreement. If you let this guy get through waivers, we'll help you out. That used to happen all the time. It doesn't happen much anymore. I am in favor of all trades have to be done between now and, after the World Series, because I covered the Orioles one year. 1989 was one of the years where on the last day of the season, they were going to make a deal for Mark Langston to come in and pitch the second to last game of the season in order to win one game. Well, it didn't work out, but that's just not how it should be. The team that you have on August the 1st should be the team that you have on October the 1st. I just never liked that, this guy snuck through waivers. That to me, that's not the best way to go.
Understood. And I could see that. I just remember sometimes when they did it legitimately the right way of sneaking guys through waivers, if you could say right way, it built some intrigue. Second rule now, and by the way, I'm also on record, I don't like the ghost runner, and apparently it's working because we don't have games going 14, 15, 16 innings. Yeah. But there's a rule that's been talked about.
This is miserable.
That starting pitchers are going to have to go 6 innings. Now, Tim, once again, I don't know how you mandate somebody can go 6 innings. We're taking strategy, I think, out of the game. Yes, I miss the days of Bob Gibson, Nolan Ryan, Juan Marichal going 9 innings, having 22 complete games, pitching 200 some innings or having 300 some strikeouts. Those days are probably long gone. But you're going to mandate a starting pitcher has to go 6 innings. Your thoughts?
Well, we have to return the value of the starting pitcher to the game. It drives me crazy that we get to the postseason and we have a bullpen game in the World Series. That's not what the World Series is supposed to be about. Look, I'm a little old man now, but I grew up where Jim Palmer faced Sandy Koufax in the World Series, and Bob Gibson faced Jim Lonborg, and Bob Gibson faced, Denny McClain. We don't do that anymore. So I would love to see the value of the starting pitcher return. I just don't know how we do it, but I know this. 6 innings is a necessity. No, that's not going to happen. Now, there are rules. If you throw 100 pitches, you can come out before 6 innings. If you give up 4 more earned runs, you can come out. And, of course, if you get hurt. But our managers' hands are tied enough as it is, and it is time to untie those hands more. But making a starting pitcher have to go 6 innings is just not the way to go.
I'm with you 100%, Tim. It handcuffs the managers, even though we do need to get starting pitchers to go longer. We got to find a solution there. Last one for me, and Ed will finish up with one more. We thank you so much. So gracious with your time here. MVPs feel like foregone conclusions. Judge in the AL, Shohei Ohtani in the NL, although there are other good players, obviously Gunnar Henderson, Bobby Witt, Jose Ramirez, my guy Ketel Marte before he got dinged up with the D-backs, among others. How about the Cy Young Awards? Because you don't hear as much of those chatter who's going to get those honors in the NL and AL. In the AL, I thought it was Corbin Burns for a while. Does Emmanuel Clase, a closer who's been money for Cleveland, have any chance whatsoever at it?
He does, but I think Tarek Skubal is the Cy Young in the American League right now. As of the other day, he was the Triple Crown winner he was on the way to being the Triple Crown winner of pitching in the American League. And I think in the National League, it's Chris Sale of the Braves at the moment, because he has a chance to win the Triple Crown of pitching in the National League. So it's a crazy year. But that's who I see for the moment. But I've seen this 100 times, fellas. We remember the last thing we see. And if someone just gets red hot the last 5 weeks, that person can win the Cy Young. But I think it's Skubal and Sale at the moment.
Awesome. Well, Ed wants to finish up with you here, Tim. I think with our Major League Baseball over-unders, we do this every year to begin the season. We each pick 5 of them. So, Ed, go ahead and read those for Timmy here on the screen, who he thinks will win. I have a bad feeling you're going to beat me this year after I think I beat you the last couple of years in this.
Well, Matt had Baltimore over 90.5.
He's going to win that one. He has Arizona over 83.5. He's going to win that.
The Cubs over 83.5.
He's going to lose that. Cubs have been a bit of a disappointment.
Yankees under 98.5.
He's going to lose that.
And Minnesota under 85.5.
He's going to lose that too. Twins are pretty good. They got a great bullpen.
I messed up, now, Tim. Here's Ed's. Go ahead.
Here's me. I have the Mets. Lord, I have to laugh. Over 82.5.
You're going to win that. They have a chance to make the playoffs.
Good. I have Cleveland over 77.5.
You're going to win that by a mile.
Brilliant.
I knew it.
He stole that one from me, Tim. I wanted that one so bad. He stole it from me. Go ahead, Ed.
I have Cincinnati. Lord help me. Over 82.5.
You're going to lose that. Sorry, Reds just aren't ready. They will be soon.
And I think Bell is out. Under 90.5, Texas.
We're going to be way under, and I didn't see that coming.
And San Francisco under 83.5.
Yeah, I think they'll win 81, 82, 83 games, but I think under 83.5 is a winner.
Well, thank you, Tim, because I'm going to blow Matt out of the water once again.
Yeah. Well, Tim, next year I'm going to hit you up before we do this so you can give me some help to beat Ed.
No, that's unfair. Can't do that. Tim plays impartial. That's one good thing about Tim. He's impartial.
Yeah. Well, hey, Tim, thank you so much. Check out his work, ESPN, TV, radio, greatgamerwhat.com, the podcast. Have a great run to October, and we'll talk to you on the road, my friend.
Okay, Matthew. Okay, Ed. See you.
Thanks, Tim.
It's the one and only Tim Kurkjian with us here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. How cool was that to have Tim Kurkjian assess our over-unders? He's saying, what am I doing with these two yahoos? That's just
that's what I thought, too. He'd be like, okay, they're asking me about this over and under. But you know what? He did it gracefully right into it.
But, by the way, we do have the graphic. Unfortunately, says for 2023. It's actually 2024. So that we'll have to fire the intern. It wasn't Jack. It wasn't Nick. It wasn't Chuck. It was little Noel's friend that did that for me the other day that put that up there. So we got to fix that part. Other than that, everything else was right on the over under. So not 2023. It should say. Can we get little Crayola and put 2024 on that? I don't know if we can, but
yeah, that would be good to do.
You're going to go 4-1. I'm going to go 2-3. You're right. You're going to beat me. I'm so mad. It's not even close. You just nailed it with Cleveland. You nailed it with Texas. Those were two out of this. I mean, only problem is, Ed, you didn't have any shekels down on this, did you?
Nah, I think you owe me a meal or something we got on it. So the only one I lost is Cincinnati, who I thought going into the year could go,
Well, I need the Mets to just crater. If the Mets crater and somehow and I'm with Tim, I think the Cubbies aren't going to win, and I don't think the Minnesota Twins are going to win. Or if your Yankees can hit a, they got to such a fast start, then they started to crater. That was a personal. I did two wrong things. I took two personal picks. I took my guys over, your guys under. Generally, you're going to split those babies, and I can't split with you because you're going 80%. You're going 80% unless something crazy happens and the Mets totally tank, which is possible. They are the Mets, and sometimes they can be a mess, as their fielding showed in that one loss this week to the Orioles. Or somehow Cleveland's going to hit. That's a done deal. Texas is going to hit. Might need San Francisco to get on a streak here and get to like 84 wins, but you're going to go 4-1. He's absolutely dead on. He's dead on. I'm going 2-3 unless the Cubbies can save me or the Twins can just go. I need the Twins or Yankees to go in the tank, and I don't think that's going to happen. They might have the two best records in the AL when it's all said and done. However, Minnesota's division with KC and Cleveland, I don't think a ton of those left. It's possible they could go 85-77, but they're going to get there. I think. Yeah, they're going to get there over 86 wins. Yeah.
I try to learn you, but you're too much. You're into too much fool in the pool. You weren't listening, so got waterlogged.
Depressing. We've got a little more time left on the show. This has been a fantastic hour. I mean, can you schedule two better guests than Teel and Kurkjian back to back? That's as good as it gets, right?
And the thing about it is, David and Tim are among the best at what they do. I mean, it's just so clear. They're very thorough, but yet their personalities allow them to come out. Like I said, both these guys can be anywhere right now at this time, or at least in shutdown mode, because they'll be everywhere else, but they give us that time. And we're so gracious to them and thankful to them to be able to do that. And Tim's just a whole nother level too. I mean, he's a funny guy. He's funny on his shows, but he's very thorough at what he does. And I could see him on that bus with the Tigers and all them little leaguers, and he'd be just like the little leaguers, probably exchanging baseball cards and bubble gum and whatever all the things the little league guys do, and the questions. I can see Tim fitting right. And like he said, most of them are taller than him anyways. He probably couldn't even see over the seat of the bus.
Yeah, I could have just hid that over under, but I figured we might as well let Tim Kurkjian assess and grade it. And I'm not proud of it. I'm very, for all my loyal followers and fans out there, the ones that love me in the pool, hate me in the pool, want to throw me in the pool like Ed, and not let me get out of the pool. I've let you down. I've disappointed you, America. And I've let the basketball coach beat me.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, it's not.
We know you, and like I said, we try to pick you up when you get. Oh, one of the things you just put it up there. I forgot to ask Tim.
Why the switch.
The Mariners firing Scott Service.
Yeah, we ran out of time with them. Well, we could, again, there was 5 or 6 questions I wanted to ask Teel. We could have asked about with college football. We touched a little bit on the playoff, but I could ask him about Bronco Mendenhall's AD at New Mexico, former UVA coach. He's basically taken, I guess, the job at Houston. There's a lot of things we could have asked Teel that we didn't get to. Same with Kurkjian. We could spend 2 hours with those guys, but we thank them. And that's why in the future, we're going to also let people, if they have a question, you're more than welcome to post it in our comment section through YouTube or Facebook or IG or Twitter or X, and we can share it with our special guest, whether it is someone like a Tim Kurkjian or a David Teel or anybody else that's comes on the program. And we're going to take a time out, Ed, and do some high school football talk. We've got our big preview show coming up on Monday. We're going to do it then and do our picks with that. And maybe I can get redemption for Ed beating me in the baseball picks. And by the way, guess what we have next Saturday, Edward? Do you know?
Who's coming on next Saturday?
Well, we're going to effort Chuck Culpepper. He's in Italy right now at a wedding. He had the Washington Post, who, by the way, once upon a time wrote for the Suffolk Sun. as part of the Virginia Pilot and Suffolk News Herald too. I think it was at the age of like 14 or 15 we did that. We've had him on radio and podcasts before. We're going to get him on, if not next week, down the road, I'm sure. But we're going to do our NFL over-unders for the season. And I think we do every one of them, every team, and we add it up. And we'll see how we did last year. I'll have to go through the records and see how we did. I know I beat you during the season and the playoffs with the picks, but we'll do our NFL over-unders next Saturday on the program. So get ready for that, as you've got a lot of studying to do over there on everything when it comes to football, high school, college, and even pros. So we will step aside, come back with more right here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Right now, though, we're going to hear from some of the sponsors that do it for us right here each and every week, including our friends at Vault. We'll talk to you in just a moment.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar IV Hydration and Vitamin Therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
I've learned that to ignore the facts does not change the facts. You take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have the facts of life. The facts of life. What a show that was. Until next visit, this is Andy Rooney for Wondering Aloud on Poolside Adventures.
Hampton Roads has a long-running high school and college sports tradition. It's time to give them the spotlight they deserve. This is 757 Sports Talk. Here are Matt Hatfield and Coach Ed Young.
It's more like your jam here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. You weren't much of a Facts of Life viewer, were you, back in your day? You were more in the Sanford and Son wheelhouse.
Yeah, Facts of Life, I might have seen it a couple of times. Sanford and Son, seen them all. We'll see them all again.
Yeah, that's up there in the sitcom. We're going to do your sitcom list here soon. We were supposed to do that recently. We didn't get to it with the time for that. But, Ed, we've got some more high school football sound to throw in here for the folks. You have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 coaches to choose from. Your list over there. I don't know if you have it in front of you or not. I imagine you're looking at something else, probably footage from your concert you were at last night. So good luck with that. Who would you like to hear from? Anybody in particular? We have, again, some we will save for our preview show coming up on Monday. But your choices again. Would you like to hear, or do you know who we got? Oh, you're stopping. You're putting the stop sign up here. Go ahead.
Stop sign. I'm not going to pick because then people think I'm playing special. Yeah, Derek, you're right. High school football, yay, and right. Matt still has not played the video, which has been rated acceptable for
not
podcast.
G. It's not G. No, it's not. I'll show it to the powers that be, and guess what? If it's acceptable, I will play it next week on the show. But I don't think it's acceptable. That's just my feeling on it.
Trust me, it's acceptable
in your world, but not in all of our viewers. We have little kids out there watching the show.
I'm as clean cut as they come.
You are not clean. You're dirtier than dirty.
No, don't give me a complexion now. Come on now, because people who don't know me may go by what you're saying, and it's 100% false. As far as the list of people coming up, let's go whoever you have at the top of the list. Let's just stay on the list that you already wrote up. And we'll go, because I don't even remember who was first. So we'll go right down the list.
We were going to save some James Yeager from last week of Ocean Lakes. Would you like to hear from him then? Dolphins?
Yes.
All right, here we go. James Yeager, Ocean Lakes Dolphins. Here's what he told us after their scrimmage last week with Pocosin. They could be a fly in the ointment, sneaky sleeper team in the Beach District. And let's get his thoughts now on Cova Sports TV.
All right, here with Ocean Lakes head football coach James Yeager after his team's preseason scrimmage with the Pocosin Islanders, who won the Region 2A championship a season ago. Coach, much different looking Dolphins group for you. I think you found the end zone 3 different times tonight. Your quarterback Noah Colon with your wideout Devin McGill, nice combination, but a couple other guys found the end zone as well. You're pretty pleased with what you saw tonight?
Yes, we kind of came out pretty limited. We didn't want to put too much out there. Just want to try to make sure we can execute the basics. So we're happy with what we did. We can definitely get better. We missed some blocks up front. Our guys know they got to get better up front. And, Noah missed some reads. He knows he's got to get better. Dev had a couple of little drops, so he knows he got to get better. So we all got things to work on as players and coaches, and we're excited about the challenge. But we kind of just came out and wanted to make sure we could do the foundational stuff in our offense.
Even though it wasn't a flawless performance for Noah, making that transition from wide receiver, where he will most likely be in college as a slot guy, he's got a couple of offers on the table, to QB, running your offense. What have you seen from him off season to now?
I mean, he's going to be great. I don't want to give it all away, but we kept him in the pocket tonight. But I think anyone that knows him, is from this area, knows that that's not who he is. So we kept him safe. We kept him in the pocket. We didn't really let him move around a whole lot, but he's going to put pressure on defenses with his legs. So
overheard, the chatter from some people in the sense this is a team you played on in Pocosin's a lot like Killam. They're that wing T. Coach Dirty's got a well-schooled, disciplined, fundamental team. They made a state run a year ago. What did you see defensively in defending their traps, their runs, their different formations, if you will, from the running game?
They're a tough team. Their guys are really tough. They come out and they play very physical, and I think it was a good test for us to come out and see how physical we were, So they came out and they executed at a high level. We had a couple of big runs there towards the end. We were just kind of more of an alignment thing we got to clean up, but we also had a lot trying to rotate some of those younger guys in there too to make sure they could see what was up. So we're excited about the defense and how they came out and played tough. We got some big names out there I think that a lot of people don't know about, but they will by the end of the season.
Yeah, William Raines, one of those guys I believe for you on the defensive side of the ball. He also ran a little bit tonight. What do you see from some of the returnees in terms of the difference from last year, whether they were juniors or sophomores to junior year is coming up?
It's been great watching them grow from freshmen to seniors, and they all kind of have found a role in the team. They all embrace that role, even if it's not necessarily what they want to be doing at that moment. But they're excited about every snap that they get, and we limited him too as well on offense and defense. And, but he found the end zone very easily, and we just, we're excited about him and what he's going to bring on offense, and how flexible he is.
2 more for let you run. Tell me about McGill. I liked his communication on the defensive backfield with his teammates, getting them lined up properly. And then he made maybe one of the best catches I've seen the last couple of nights. Just an incredible, looked like it was almost a one-handed snag.
Yeah, he's he does it all for us. He'll be back there fielding kicks on offense. He line up in the backfield. He's great, obviously a great wide receiver. Play him at corner, we play him at safety. Tonight we just decided to play him at safety because that's where he had to play tonight. But he's an excellent player. He's been playing back there for 3 years for us now. So he's his 3rd year starter. So he's gone through the lumps and everything, but now he's really kind of taking the reins and running with it. So we're happy to have him back there.
And lastly, this is year 3, 4. I forget with COVID.
This
Ocean
is year
Lakes.
4. Yeah,
okay.
we had that quick little turn on it, but this is year 4. Yeah.
Coming from PA, where you turn that thing around, do you feel more comfortable, and kind of where do you guys fit in this beach race, where you can kind of try to be that sleeper surprise team perhaps this year?
Yeah, it's different school, different kids, different everything, and it took a couple of years to kind of acclimate to it. To what we had to, I wasn't even in the building for the first year, so, but we're getting it now. We've lost a couple players to the local transfer portal, but, the guys that we have stuck around, they're working hard. They're trying to do everything that they can do to be great football players, great young men. And, I think we're just kind of finding our groove here at Ocean Lakes and just trying to grow the program.
Thanks so much. Check out the fence. All the best.
All right. Let's go.
Appreciate it.
So that was James Yeager, head football coach of the Ocean Lakes Dolphins. You see their schedule scrolling across our ticker. It's 757 Saturday Sports Talk on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, wherever you may be tuning in, Apple, Spotify, VirginiaPreps.com, Facebook, IG, X, all those things. We appreciate you doing so. Edward, the Dolphins don't play their first game until not this week coming up, but the following week when they host First Colonial. Interesting beach schedule to open up here coming up on Thursday when you have Cox at Lansdowne, Princess Anne at Bayside, First Colonial hosting Kellam, and Tallwood at Green Run, which is won 33 in a row, have the Stallions of Green Run. You heard from Brandon Williams, the coach of Green Run, last week. Oh, by the way, Kempsville hosting Salem. We'll do our picks next week on the show. We'll do our On the Hash with Hatfield weekly podcast, Football Time. I don't think Ed's ever appeared on that show, and there's for good reason. We keep him on Saturdays with me, but he'll do the preview show with me coming up on Monday. Two things he said interesting. He wasn't in the building for a while. Now he is at Ocean Lakes. And also something else that he said that was interesting to me was the transfer portal. They've lost some players. He's been candid about that, including one of which is a big pass rusher coming into Virginia Tech now at Green Run. But nonetheless, I feel like they're a dark horse. And, they've went through some ebbs and flows. You go back to when Chris Scott left and Joe Jones took over. They took a dip for a year or two and then was playing in the state playoffs under Joe Jones. I feel like, I don't know that they're a state level team, deep in a region team, but I feel like they'll be in the playoffs this year after not making it last year.
Yes and no. I'm going to say yes, but they got to get a big win early that kind of lets those kids know we can be in this race, we can do this. And, that first game of the year, First Colonial, could be the one. Of course, Tallwood is next. They can get either one of those, if not both. They get both. I think you're looking at some nice things from Ocean Lakes. But it's programs that have had a little bit of trouble. I always say they need a signature win, so those kids can realize, you know what, all this work is worth it. We as coaches know it's worth it, but until the kids get something substantial, which is usually a win, which is usually against a really good team or maybe somebody you're not supposed to beat that you're predicted to lose. Those sometimes are the things that can, really get those kids to bond together and really believe in what they're doing and then continue on. It's always about executing on a court or on a field. All that rah-rah stuff is nice, but it's really all about execution when it comes to it.
Are you like Mr. McKay, who said when he was asked about execution, and he said, I'm in favor of my team's execution? Yeah,
absolutely. Tampa Bay, what did they lose, like 30 games in a row?
They were the Tampa Bay Yucks then. They weren't the Super Bowl champions that they were with Tom Brady just a few years back, or even that John Gruden-led team with that awesome defense behind Warren Sapp, Derek Brooks, John Lynch, some Hall of Famers. Ronnie Barber, he had a UVA fame. So
that was when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they wore the creamsicle uniform.
Yeah, creamsicle.
Those creamsicle.
Go for a good creamsicle right now.
I haven't had a creamsicle so long, a good creamsicle in so long. I don't even know if they make them anymore.
They do. They do.
Well, they do? Okay.
They do. Yeah, they do. So you're gonna hold off giving a declaration on how many games they win this year to Fins? You want to wait till the preview show on Monday? Tease people. You love teasing people.
Yeah, would tease them on with them. But I like that first game, First Colonial.
Okay.
And that could kind of set a tone. It may set a tone either way.
I think October's setting a tone for them because their first 3 games in that month at Cox, host Kempsville, at Salem are going to be big. You somehow get out of that stretch 2-1. Now you're cooking with gas, as they say. Cook with gas? You don't cook with gas.
Yeah, I have gas stoves, so I do cook with gas.
Steam? How about steam?
Steam, no.
How about, you know what you steam, though, right? You steam crabs. And speaking of crabs.
I don't eat crabs.
Well, you want to hear from the coach of the Crabbers?
Yeah, let's do that because he probably has some crabbers.
That is Woodrow Wilson, not to be confused with Woodrow Wilson High School, but Hampton's head coach, taking over for the legendary Mike Smith a few years ago. They went through a down period like Ocean Lakes, picking it back up. So talking about teams that are improved on the rise a little bit. We caught up with him after the team scrimmage with the Kempsville Chiefs this week. And here is Woodrow Wilson with us on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. It is on Cova Sports TV.
All right, here with Hampton at Crabbers head football coach Woodrow Wilson after his team's preseason scrimmage with the Kempsfield Chiefs. Unofficially, the score 16-6, but I know the scores don't matter in a preseason situation here, Coach. But a couple of players stuck out for you, including number 12 tonight, Devin Anthony. I know he's an undersized defensive guy, but he was really the heart and hustle out there for you. He made some big plays, including a pick six. Tell me more about him and what he does for your squad.
He's our team leader, great motivator, hard worker. I couldn't be more proud of him. He set the tone for us on defense and offense. And as a matter of fact, he just started running back last week when we scrimmaged Princeton.
Sure. A couple other guys for you, number 1 and number 2, respectively. I believe Casey Laster's number 1 for you. I think he made a big player. He might have had the pick six, found the end zone. I know Anthony did for you. And there was also Davion Perry for you at corner, wide receiver. He was going up against a big 6'5" kid for Kempsfield tonight. I thought those two showed some promise for you. They're going to be key guys for you this year?
Well, number 1, Casey Laster, he got plenty of heart. That's what I love about him. Hard worker, extremely hard worker. Give you everything he got. Probably our best player, pound for pound. Davion Perry, he bounced back from last week. Had a subpar game last week. Took issue with that. Worked real hard this past week, and came out and did very well for us today.
As you know, with the storied Hampton Crabbers and you being an assistant for many years under the legendary Mike Smith, you've had some great quarterbacks. Ronald Curry comes to mind, Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Hayes. List goes on and on. This youngster for your sophomore, Marcus Chapman. I know he had a mistake early, but he bounced back from it. What do you see in his potential?
Marcus is extremely hard worker, great listener, willing to learn. But I think that right now the sky's the limit for him. It's what he wanted. If he wanted, oh, yes, sir, he could be special. Along the lines of those people you just named, Ronald Curry, Tyrod Taylor, Marcus Hayes.
That's pretty hard price. Couple more for let you run. Coach, from year 1 to year 2, you went from 3 victories to 7, made the playoffs, advanced in the postseason. What was different for you in year 1 to year 2, and what do you hope is different from year 2 to year 3 as the head man?
Well, year 1, we had no return. All our starters from the year, Coach Smith last year, were seniors. That year we was undersized on the offensive line. I don't like to make excuses. Kids did work hard. We did win 3 games, played well in the playoffs, and played very well. Then we built on that. 7-5, my second year, had Phoebus, played pretty hard the first time we played them. Second time we played them, we was missing a few key players. But like I said, I don't like to make excuses. I think if we stay healthy, we could do some special things this year.
For sure. And lastly, from the scrimmage with the Princess Anne to tonight with Kempsfield, you get ready for game 1 with Woodside. Give me sort of your assessment overview of the football team. What do you like? What do you have to clean up before you take on the Wolverines next week?
Well, we got to get a little better on the offensive line, and I think we have expired and worked hard in that area, and they coming along real well right now. I like what I see right now from some of the kids on the offensive line. Which side, I haven't seen anything on them yet. I think they scrimmage York tomorrow. If that is the case, I would be there to see, and then I'll get a better evaluation of what we need to do to come out with a win.
Go check them out on Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays at Darling Stadium and beyond. Coach Wilson and the Crabbers, thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that first game for the Hampton Crabbers, Ed, is this coming Thursday as they take on the Woodside Wolverines at Darling Stadium. Woodrow Wilson, head man of the Crabbers. Your reaction feels like good defense, undersized, but hard hustle. And again, don't want to give away your picks in the PD. We'll do that on Monday. But it feels like after Phoebus and Warwick, 2 teams that are – by the way, I'm rocking the Victory Life today. I got to give my man Dwight Vick a shout-out. Former Hampton Crabber, by the way, was a standout for the Crabbers, also the Hokies. We're going to get Dwight on the show here soon. If he's watching out there, I know he watches from time to time. Hello to Dwight out there. But I feel like they're the next team in the PD to watch. I mean, you could dispel me with – we had David Porter on Bethel a couple weeks back. Menchville, Rodney Taylor's team has been on the rise a little bit. It feels like Hampton's that next team to watch. But, you know, Hampton's still trying to find their way and doing it with the young quarterback.
Yeah, I think Coach Wilson, he should know better than anybody else. His team, he's the one who's got to do the evaluation. His evaluation counts more than anybody's. The only thing he said that gets me a little scared is they've got to make some changes or get some things fixed on the line, offensive line. That's going to be big. But I think Hampton will be involved in that district. Of course, district title doesn't really mean that much. I still think that's Phoebus's hands down. But I think Hampton makes noises this year. I think they have the athletes, good skill position guys, get that line straight, and then I think they win more than their fair share of games for that team. I think a win against Woodside in the opener, again, if they go in there thinking it's an easy win and you lose it, here we go, back to round one. But I think if they can get that, that's going to kind of leapfrog them into having a pretty good season.
There we go. The technology's been jacking up with me today. Speaking of Jack Lowe is going to speak with Western Branch head football coach Rashad Cook next here on Cova Sports TV to preview the 2024 Bruins. We come back here after the break, and we'll close out today's episode of 757 Saturday Sports Talk, which has flown by. Don't forget, we've got Mustangs football coming your way, top of the hour. I want to get you out there at the Plex, Ed, for a day of Mustangs football. And have you, actually, I had someone, I'm gonna let this out of the bag. You remember him because we broadcasted the state championship game. Mike Desmond, head basketball coach of Class 6 state champion South Lakes. We did his game. Jordan Scott leading the way.
Oh yeah, George. Okay.
We just brought up Dwight Vick. His son Isaiah was on the wrong end of that state championship game, but Isaiah is going to do things to the next level very well when he gets to the next level. But as Tay Barber is at Harvard now. Anyhow, Coach Desmond is coming down tentatively to play in our Virginia Preps Classic next year. And he's asked me, and I totally agreed to this, against your will. We don't care. He said, if we win, this is what he told me. I can show you the exact text. He said, if we win, we're requesting to body surfer Ed with the fans we have there. I said, absolutely. Body surfing. That'd be great. That'd be awesome. Body surfer you. Look at you shake your head. We would have to get that on footage. That'd be a great intro to the show. We can play that intro to the show. I like that. If South Lakes, now you'll be over there coaching the other team to make sure they don't win, so you don't have to be body surfed. Be great.
Yeah, unfortunately, that would be a no because
Mike Desmond just went out of your friend circle now, didn't he?
Well, no, Mike's okay. Mike's a good dude. It's the fact that COVID numbers are going up.
Oh, stop it. COVID numbers are not going up. Stop it. Stop it. Don't use that as your excuse. That's a lame, weak excuse. Don't do that.
You've got people with their hands all over
data that says the numbers are going up.
Parts of my body. I don't think that would
Don't use that. That's weak. That is so weak of you.
That would fly.
No.
I don't think that would fly. Now, what I would like to see, though, is we would ball you up like a beach ball, and then the crowd can hit you up in the air, and every time somebody hits you.
No, he didn't say me. I'm running the tournament. I'm going to be busy running the tournament, putting out fires and things of that nature. You're the guy that's going to be body surfing and can be hit like a beach ball. That's fine. Totally fine.
Well, seeing that I may not be coaching this year, I'm going to have to be at your tournament as a tough evaluator to make sure everything is being run right.
That's fine. We'll just have you body surfed if South Lakes wins. Now, if South Lakes loses a heartbreaker, I'll be heartbroken because we won't get to see you get body surfed. So maybe I'll put South Lakes in the event against perhaps the most easy opponent they can have. Like put them up against some middle school, like you like to always say. There you go. So it guarantees you getting body surfed. There you go.
Yeah, you would schedule.
Get a contract written up and signed that Mike Desmond agrees to play as long as Ed Young gets body surfed after the win. And then I'll put him against Point of View Elementary. And then you got an easy win. There you go.
That's what I figure you would definitely do it. People think you're joking, but I'd say you're.
Oh, I would do it in a heart. Anything to guarantee. I would never pay out the referee. I wouldn't do that. But I just make sure, you get body surfed. That's all we need. Let's take a timeout. We've got Jack coming up with Rashad Cook of the Western Branch Bruins right here on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe.
Get ready for a season of thrills and excitement. Virginia Beach United invites you to experience the adrenaline of USL League 2 Pro Soccer. Tickets are only $10 for adults, $7 for kids, and children 5 and under are free. It's the perfect family outing filled with fun and entertainment. Secure your seats now for a season of unforgettable soccer moments with Virginia Beach United. Don't miss out.
At CHKD, Sports medicine is more than just treating injuries. It's a whole team approach to caring for young athletes. With experienced physicians, surgeons, trainers, and rehab specialists here when kids and teens need them most. Our experts help young athletes prevent injuries too, with advanced training and conditioning programs that keep them in the game safely. CHKD Sports Medicine, where kids are more than patients and we're more than a hospital.
Treat yourself to a visit to the Drip Bar IV Hydration and Vitamin Therapy in Virginia Beach. Boost your immunity, increase your energy, and promote anti-aging with our personalized treatments designed to ensure efficient nutrition absorption to rejuvenate your mind and body. Come see our chic and relaxing day spa for yourself today. We welcome walk-ins and appointments. Our medical professionals will help you achieve your best health and answer all your questions. The Drip Bar at Lansdowne Commons in Virginia Beach.
And now back to Matthew Hatfield and the evil basketball coach. Blast you, Ed Young!
That's right. He's the evil basketball coach. I'm the other guy, Ed Young. Matt Hatfield here with you on 757 Saturday Sports Talk. Like, share, and subscribe on Cova Sports TV. And we'll look forward to the South Lake Seahawks and their fans body surfing. Ed, the fans over in Chesapeake from Western Branch High School, the Crazies as they're known, love to get on Ed Young when he was coaching and make him sweat. They yell, "Sweat, Ed, sweat." And they don't get to do that anymore because he's not coaching at the moment. But they're going to try to make the other team sweat on the gridiron this year. It's a new cast for Coach Rashad Cook, Edward.
Yeah, I think Western Branch is – a lot of people are saying that they're going to be a little bit down. I kind of look for them to win more than what the pundits would pick them to do so. But let's see what Coach has to say.
All right, I'm here with Western Branch Bruins head football coach Rashad Cook. Thanks for joining me, Coach Cook. It's been a long offseason. How excited are you to get this team back out onto the gridiron?
Football is back. It feels real good. You know, we really worked hard in the offseason, dedicated ourselves mentally, physically, and emotionally, and we're glad to get back out here.
Yeah, so there's lots of returners in this offensive line other than losing, Aiden Warsong and others, but how important will they be to the success of this team this year?
Our offensive line is important to every operation that we want to get done in all three phases. Even our defensive line got to be stout this year. Those guys have worked tremendously hard, and, we like where they are right now this far in camp.
So what would you say is an underrated player that people may not know about now, but by the end of the season they're going to make a name for themselves?
I think Joshua Simpson Jr. is an underrated player. A big fella, put a lot of work in this offseason, very smart, multi-talented on and off the field. So I'm excited about what his growth will look like throughout this season.
Is there anybody that's stepping up as captains this year, kind of leading the freshmen and mentoring them?
A lot of guys are. Our seniors really understand the importance of this senior year. It's too many to name, but we are narrowing it down as a coaching staff to really put together guys that we feel could lead week in and week out.
What would you say is the most exciting aspect of this year's team?
Turning the page. Last year we didn't have the season we wanted, but a lot of guys stuck with it. A lot of guys fought through it. And our offseason, seeing us become a bigger, faster, and stronger team is something I'm excited to see translate on Friday nights and Thursday nights as well.
Absolutely. So the Southeastern District is a very tough conference this year with Kings Fork, Oscar Smith, and even teams like Grassfield and Nansen River on the rise. What's it going to be like trying to compete with them? And it might be one of the toughest conferences in football.
Yeah, it's really tough. We got to take it 1 week at a time. Fortunately for us, we got a lot of home games this year. So our home field advantage, Bruin Crazies, Bruin Nation, all the school spirit that we have should help lead our men to victory, or at least compete at a high level. But Southeastern District has always been a tough one. I played in it. A lot of our coaching staff have, and we got a lot of respect for every team in our district.
So what's it been like over the last 5-6 years coaching all of your sons, whether it's Desmond, Devin, who's now at Wake Forest, and what's it like knowing that this is Derek's final season? It's the last one.
Hey, we cherish the moment. We enjoy each day, each opportunity. My hope and prayer is that one day they enjoy the sport so much they want to get into coaching themselves and make impact for others. Derek being a senior is just like icing on the cake. He's one of many Bruins and one of many seniors we have, but it's a little bit more special when it's yours. But he's been a great teammate to all the guys on the roster, been a great player for me and our staff, and we're excited about his senior year as well as everybody else.
Absolutely. And final question, you got any message to the fans, students, parents that are looking for some big things out of Western Range football this year?
Yeah, just come out and support us. We love Bruin Nation. Our fan base travels. They really support us at a high level every week. Even in the off season, we're getting that support. So just continue to come out, cheer these young men on to victory.
So there you have it. You heard from Rashad Cook, the head man of the Western Branch Bruins, with our Jack Lowe on Cova Sports TV. Like, share, and subscribe. You also heard from earlier in the show the head football coach of the Hampton Crabbers, Woodrow Wilson, and James Yeager of Ocean Lakes. But interesting there at Western Branch, Ed, you have Rashad Cook. He coached his sons Desmond, who's linebacker at William & Mary, Devin, who's now at Wake Forest, and his other son, Derek, the quarterback for the team. Pretty cool to have three different sons. Subsequent years pretty much close out their I guess you could say careers in Chesapeake, where he was once a running back and played.
Yeah, I mean, I always like talking to coaches who coach their son to get different perspective on what it's like coaching your son. Some it's easy, some it's not. And when do you distinguish between dad and coach? Because you're both. Always, of course, dad first and foremost. But I think Western Branch is going to be all right this year. I think without really, I'm going to say top four.
Really? So you're not going to out of the. So I'm assuming. Well, I don't want to give away your picks for Monday, but that would mean you're knocking somebody out that folks would not expect, given that you've had Oscar Smith, Kings Fork, Indian River all make runs to either the state playoffs or the regional finals in the last 3 to 4 years. Western Branch Mid is just a couple years removed from a state semifinal themselves. Last year, they were the number 8 seed. I was looking at their schedule. They got Benedictine that second game, which they lost pretty handily a year ago, but that's an interesting game. Kings Fork follows it. Of course, Nansemond River is always a circled game early October. Deep Creek used to be the game with them in the late 90s, early 2000s, back when Lou Johnston was coaching and Coach Cook was a player for the Bruins and David Cox was coaching the Hornets. Of course, we had Andre Twine on a couple weeks ago as well. And then you have, to me, the game to circle is that November 1st game with Grassfield. You say, wait, Oscar Smith, didn't you ever Deep Creek? Because I think that's the game to determine maybe one of those last couple of playoff seats, and maybe both of their cases. Because you have to remember now, that Richmond area with Highland Springs, we'll hear from Lauren Johnson of the Springers on our preview show on Monday, because, by the way, they open up against the Phoebus Phantoms. You have Thomas Dale, who was 10-0 last year and knocked Western Branch out of the playoffs in the first round. And Manchester, despite a new coach, they've been a state contender in recent years, though they have a coaching change with Tom Hall going to Prince George and Jason Harrell taking over. Those teams are going to get – you figure those three teams plus Glen Allen, though Perry Jones left, former Oscar Smith great and UVA standout, now an assistant at William & Mary, though he left, and Malik Sexton, former Churchland quarterback, took over as the head man of Glen Allen. They could get one of those 8 seeds. So half those seeds in 6A regionally could be occupied from Tidewater teams. And I know Southeastern District teams are the ones you think about, but there's also Lansdowne from the Beach in that Class 6 Region A picture. So I would tell you, hold your horses just a little bit. So
I may need to reevaluate.
You may need to reevaluate. May need to. But to your point, maybe I don't know that people have said a demise. Maybe their decline has been exaggerated just a pinch. You could be onto something there. Something could be brewing in Bruin Nation. Here you go. See what I did there?
There you go. That's a good one. I like that one. I like that better than the pool shenanigans.
Oh, we've got plenty more pool shenanigans, sir. Don't worry. We've got plenty more pool shenanigans. Plenty more. Did you hear the one about the bee?
And I don't want to.
Doesn't matter. You're going to hear it.
Oh, yeah. It's laugh out loud joke time, baby. LOL. Here we go. Why did the bee get married? Why did the bee get married? Because it found its honey.
You love that, don't you? You just love it. Eat it up like candy.
It's the laugh that is scaring the kiddies out of the pool.
No.
And will get you probably incarcerated. I think
incarcerated. That's pretty strong.
Well, we're efforting I don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Jeez.
I don't know where that saying came from, but we're efforting those potential happenings.
Okay. Well, we're out of time. Anything else you want to add before we say goodbye to everybody?
No, the summer's rapidly coming to a close.
It is.
So get out and enjoy. The weather is tremendous. September will have some hopefully good weather days too. But also remember this: tomorrow's not guaranteed. So make sure you live today the best way you can, because there could be no tomorrow.
That's the upbeat, happy music, ladies and gents, for Ed Young to go put on his dancing shoes tonight, because he's going to be. I'll say it to him. Whisper. Check out my pages later. We'll tell you where he's going to be.
I will be out and about tonight, but can't let people know where I'll be.
They'll find you. We have a GPS tracking device on you. We do. We thank our guests, which included the likes of Hall of Famers Tim Kurkjian, ESPN Major League Baseball analyst, David Teel, Virginia Sports Hall of Famer with Richmond Times-Dispatch. College football is here. Ed's picking the Noles by 3+ TDs. I'm taking the under, baby, and the Noles and a white knuckler. Need it to happen. Otherwise, it'll be Ed Young hosting the show next Saturday by himself, or somebody else with him. Because Matt Hatfield won't be here, ladies and gents.
I have some people in mind.
Sure you do. You got to run it by a background check to make sure they're approved. Thank you, all the viewers, listeners, folks that interact with us, tweet it with us, post with us. We appreciate you, and we'll do it again next Saturday to close out the month of August right here on Cova Sports TV. Have a great one, everybody, and we'll talk to you then. Enjoy your sports weekend. College football's back. What's better?
Notre Dame, go Yankees.
Oh, they stink.